everybody. So today we are burbling about Only Murders in the Building, Season 2, Episode 1, called Persons of Interest. This popular murder mystery TV series is on Hulu, and it's created by Steve Martin and John Hoffman, and stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and a fantastic supporting cast and guest appearances. The plot follows the trio who share a true passion for true crime podcast and are obsessed with solving murder mysteries around them. So, Rena, what do we have for episode 1?
Episode 1 starts off with Charles, Oliver, and Mabel taken in for questioning by the police over Bunny's death. If you recall, at the end of season 1, Bunny was found dead in Mabel's apartment, and we didn't know who killed her. The police eventually release the three as persons of interest, and they start the next season of their podcast. And we start to see three separate storylines. One with Mabel, where the art world gets interested in her mural. One where Charles is being brought in for a redo of Brazos. And Oliver, who meets up with Amy Schumer, a new tenant in the building, and discusses selling their podcast. The three eventually start investigating Bunny's death, and they go up to her apartment and look around, and that's where we get introduced to the famous Rose Cooper erotic painting, which mysteriously disappears. And by the end of the episode, it's found in Charles's apartment, and Charles realizes that the man in that painting is his father. Ooh. Anu, what did you think?
I mean, I, for one, love the trio's chemistry, regardless of what the plot line and storyline, which again, we'll talk about it in a bit, but I just love their chemistry. And it's so refreshing to see these, two different generations have such a great dynamic come together, not just group chemistry, but also like one-on-one. One of my favorite dialogues, I think, of all times now is when Oliver comes up with a ship name for them called Ollie Mabel. I was just silent. Hands down, for me, that is one of the best lines in comedy. And again, I feel like, yes, the stories, the plot line, the dialogues, and a lot of other things are great, but it's so, so amazing to see the chemistry among the three of them, sorry.
I agree. I don't know if our listeners have seen season 1. If they haven't, go rush out and watch it now. But I was kind of worried after all that time of, would I really be interested in the story again? And they reeled me back in so fast that I can't wait for the, episode 2 and 3 and 4. I just loved it from start to finish. And it was fascinating. Great plots, great dialogue. I love that, the Charles is silent. I love that. I just love the characters so much. I'll tell you what surprised me. You do see some people missing from season 1. I don't know if they'll show up later, but the boyfriend, Mabel's boyfriend, he wasn't around in episode 1.
That guy.
Yeah. And I think a few other people. I'm not remember exactly who. And I wasn't really crazy about Amy Schumer. I'm not a huge fan of hers. I preferred Sting, who was, in season 1. But I still think it's very interesting. And now it just brings up so many open questions.
Can I say something? I know you're not a fan of Amy Schumer, but I love her. Like, I've seen her stand up, like, I've seen her shows, and, like, I just love her. Like, she moving into Sting's apartment and chatting with Oliver about, potentially what they could do together, like, buying the rights to the first season or what happened. I feel like that was amazing. and I'm sure that we're going to see more of Amy Schumer. I really hope that we see more of Amy Schumer, but I love her.
Yeah, I think she has an interesting role to play. And, we're back into seeing the rest of the neighbors, although not everyone in the building. But I hope they give us, more insight into Bunny's life. We knew a little bit about her in season 1, but I really want to know more. I haven't, from the episode 1, been able to kind of even guess at who killed Bunny. And that's the main question. I think they're going to keep us guessing for the rest of this, the season. But it's getting very interesting, even right off from the start.
Okay, so yes, there are a lot of clues in the first episode, so we know for sure that Mabel is not the killer, or at least I hope she's not the killer. But can we take a moment and talk about Bunny's apartment? That apartment is surprisingly gorgeous. Like, I loved that floral wallpaper that she had all over, the black and white and the white colorful one. And I'm a minimalist, and I like modern, I like clean lines, and I'm very like different than, floral prints and stuff. But phew, even I wanted to take a closer look at those wallpaper, and I was like, wow, that is beautiful. I mean, of course, we also met Mrs. Gambolini, Bunny's pet bird, discovered by our, fantastic Ollie Mabel. But that apartment is gorgeous.
It is. I mean, I have apartment envy, of course, and fangirling over that place. It's beautiful. I didn't expect it to look like that. Like the way they introduced her character, I didn't know what we would find. But you're right. It was a fantastic apartment. I mean, all of them are, to be honest. I don't know if this is actual based upon a real building in New York, but it's nice to think so.
Yeah, I was almost expecting Mabel to go. I called her a cranky old B word, but her apartment is gorgeous. And for such a cranky old woman, that apartment was something. And I really hope that, somebody comes out with that wallpaper, because I would totally buy that and make it sort of like like an accent wall. But yeah, that is beautiful.
Well, I like to also, bring up obviously, you know, personal appearance doesn't matter, but Selena Gomez to me just looks really different in season two. Some physical changes, which don't matter, but it just was surprising to see her kind of changed.
So on that matter, I know that she has some medical condition, and she's had some surgeries to get those medical conditions treated. So I kind of understand why those physical changes in her body. But again, I really don't want to comment on somebody's body, because she's such an amazing actress. I was not a fan of her singing as much, but with her acting, like, I am definitely a fan of her comedy timing and all that. But yeah, I am not going to like comment on her physical appearance, because it just feels very inclusive that they've not gone for, oh, who looks the prettiest or blondest or whatever. I feel like it's such a great casting, and yes, you do see difference in her physical appearance, but again, she's amazing, and I'm beginning to love her.
No, I agree, and I wasn't a Selena Gomez fan before this. Uh, like I said, I don't think it matters. I was just surprised by it, um, returning to this series.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was surprised by her wardrobe. Like, the clothing that she wears, that definitely seems different than the first season, because we see a bit of a sort of like a upscale or rich clothing. I mean, I don't want to call it rich. I'm not saying that, her character is entitled or anything, but and I think we learned from the first season that she's staying in her aunt's apartment, right? So I'm hoping that it's her aunt's wardrobe and not hers, because that would explain, why her wardrobe has changed from the first season to the second. But again, it's just the first episode, so let's see what she wears in the coming episodes.
True. I mean, it looks a little less youthful in the first episode, but I like the clothes too, so I'm fine with it.
So I think in this episode, kind of going in a bit more deeper, Ollie Mabel, they scour Bunny's apartment, and two of my favorite characters, Howard and Uma, they unexpectedly drop in, and then we discover like the painting that you mentioned, which is, an erotic painting by an artist named Rose Cooper, and is supposedly worth $1 million. And we also discovered that it's mysteriously gone from Bunny's place, and it shows up in Charles's apartment at the end of the episode. But that painting, it's a classy erotic painting with Charles' father in it with another woman, of course. But yeah, I think like they've done it so tastefully, because even though it is an erotic painting, when you look at it, which I'm sure our listeners may have already seen it, or they will see it after they hear our review, but that is a classy painting.
Yeah, I guess I am more focused on the fact that they're introducing uh, Charles's father, which I think we got some background of everyone's, character in season one, but I just love to know more. I want to know kind of everything about them. So the concept of doing like the history of, how they grew up and the father and the other relatives, I love that. So I'm hoping they do that across the board.
Yeah, and I think they will, because if they have referenced her father towards the end of the episode, then it's almost like a great storytelling, right? They're just like leaving breadcrumbs for you enough that you want to come back next week and watch the second episode. So I have a feeling that they will, because again, there are a lot of other important clues in this episode as well. And of course, whose significance will be revealed in the coming episodes. So I think what you said is also what I'm interested in. What was his father like? Why is he in that painting, and why does Bunny have it? Like it's so like, it seems like we're looking at a connected puzzle. We just don't know, how the dots are connecting, but I can almost like picture them starting to lay out the dots. And yeah, I want to see more of the relationship from Charles's family.
Yeah, and it's definitely a focus on art, whether it's a Rose Cooper painting or the mural that Mabel did. And I kind of like that. And I hope they go broader into that kind of the art world, because that fascinates me anyway.
Yeah. And can we also talk about, or rather speculate and burble about Bunny's last words? They were 14 and savage. I don't know if she said this in a sentence or what the sequence was, because the way they have revealed in the first episode, first Mabel recalls the word 14, and then later on she recalls the word savage. And at this point, she's only told Oliver and Charles the 14. I don't think she's said, I mean, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that she hasn't told them about savage. So I wonder what that connection is going to be like. That's a mystery.
I think that's a fascinating point, and I think we'll be hearing more about that with the next episode, hopefully.
Yeah. And kind of coming back to Bunny's apartment, and also how much I love Oliver's dialogues. When they discover that secret elevator in the wardrobe in Bunny's apartment, and Oliver says, "Where does this go, hell?" it's like almost, it's almost like it's such a quirky way to give a nod to, a deceased, still keeping them human, kind of still, putting humor in a situation which is kind of dark and grim. But yeah, we also discovered, the secret elevator, and it kind of goes into like an open space. I thought it was like a terrace or something in the building. But yeah, that should be interesting to see what that was about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my apartment building is not that old, but has me wondering after seeing that. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here that I may not know about? It's just funny how those things are, and fascinating.
Yeah, did you go into your wardrobe and try to discover any secret doors, secret elevators, or secret passageways behind your
No,
walls?
not in my apartment, but I definitely looked twice at some of the passageways underneath my building, which was like, okay, where does that door go to?
That's amazing. Wouldn't it be great when if you discovered one, you'd be like, oh my God, this is like so much like Omid B. That would be amazing.
Great and freaky too. So
Come on, Rena. A little freak in life is necessary.
I like watching mystery, not living it. So
Touche, Monica, touche. So yeah, I mean, this time, the trio, they're gonna solve the murder mystery of Bunny, or rather solve the mystery of Bunny's murder to clear their names and tell their own stories. I'm like super excited for next week.
me too. I can't wait for episode 2.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything about this show, like the actor, actresses, direction, the storylines, the plots, the dialogues, the supporting cast, guest appearances, the New York setting, and just like what you said, I cannot wait for the next episode to come out, and then hopefully review it, do like a quick review on it. And by the way, my closing thoughts here are: I want that tie-dye sweatshirt that Bunny is wearing when she's murdered. Because, okay, I get that it's pretty dark and grim, but no shame. I really, really want that sweatshirt. It's probably available on their website, I think, like the Hulu's website, but their official website. But yeah, how cool is that tie-dye sweatshirt?
Oh, it is. We may have to look that up. All right, I guess until episode 2, and hopefully we have more answers then. In the meantime, that's our mini burble about the first episode of season 2 of Only Murders in the Building. Thanks for joining us. As always, leave your comments below, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we will talk to you next week.